Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Chase here at Rocky Mountain. Thank you so much for joining me. Say hello to the all-new SM7 helmet from Alpinestars. The SM7 is going to replace the M8, which has been around for a little while now. And I'm not surprised to see them come out with a 7 just because now their helmets are going to follow suit to what they've done with their boots. You have the SM3, SM5, SM7, and their M10. And their boot lineup, they have the same thing, Tech 3, Tech 5, Tech 7, and the Tech 10. So this will be the younger brother to their M10. So price on this, you're gonna be in the high 400s to low 5s. So you're about a little over $200 less than the M10, depending on the colorway that you're going to get. But I had a lengthy conversation with the people over at Alpinestars to get all the information about the new SM7, the safety technology, what they're going after with this. But like to see it in this price range. It's nice that they have this offering. And if you have any questions about it as I go through and I talk about it, please leave those down below. If you want to learn about the M10, the 3, or the 5, I've done spotlight videos on those, so be sure to go give those a watch to learn what are the differences between all of these helmets. So before we dive into the features and the safety aspect, let's just talk about the fit real quick, because this is important. So what's cool is that they are utilizing the A-Head Fit system that they have in the M10 here. And what that means, and we'll get to it when we show you the comfort liner on the inside, is that it is adjustable. You can move it forward and back. There's multiple locations for it. The purpose for that is just to help the helmet sit on the head as the rider would like it, which is pretty cool. I don't know of another motocross helmet that allows you to adjust the comfort liner to get the helmet to sit differently on your head. So take advantage of that, try it on. Even if it feels great right out of the box, try adjusting that A-head liner just to see what it would feel like if you did move it forward or move it back. So experiment a little bit with that. As far as the fit goes, it does fit and feel similar to their M10, but to me, and I had other riders here try it on, this is a size medium they sent me, it fits a little bit big. Not so much in the crown of the head, but in the cheek pad area especially. That's where myself and another rider who also wears a size medium, we both felt the same, that it fit a little bit large in the cheeks. The nice thing is that A-Stars does have extra cheek pads that you can buy that are thicker. So if you're in the same boat as me, you can get different cheek pads for that. But that's why we have our fit guarantee. If you buy this helmet, if you don't like how it fits, you can send it back in brand new unused condition. We'll give you free shipping both ways on your first exchange, just to make sure you do get the size and the helmet that is going to fit you best. So looking at it, it's not quite the exact same shell design, so it's not the same mold as their M10. It is going to be a little bit different, but you can definitely see it's got a lot of the M10 DNA that is built into it. Same visor release system. On the inside, you're going to have a 4-piece EPS liner with 3 different densities. A lot of cool safety tech going on here. But let's talk about the venting design. So you have 13 intakes on the front of this, and you're going to have 7 exhaust vents. So they put a lot of emphasis on the venting of this helmet. I like these big intakes that you have right here on top of that visor. And you've got these big ones right here on the brow, including all the ones here in the mouth guard and the chin bar. What's also nice too, again, taking some of the features from the SM10, is that they do have their hydration ready. So they have routing for a sip tube. I'll show you that here in a moment. And there are speaker cutouts for a comm system, including even a little bit more for when it comes to a comm system, which I'll talk about also. But overall, as far as the shell design goes, I'm a fan. I've always really liked the M10. And of course, with A-Stars, a lot of really good colorways to choose from. All right, so as far as the shell, there are 3 different shell sizes, which is nice, and 4 EPS sizes, just trying to fine tune the fit. And it's a tri-composite shell. You have fiberglass, carbon fiber, and Aramid fiber. And again, that's just going to build you a very strong, very lightweight shell. But something interesting about A-Stars is you notice that on the sides and on the top, they make their helmet pretty flat. And you don't have really any sharp, you do have some edges on here, but they're not really sharp. And they wanted to give you flat surfaces in the areas where you're likely to have impacts. The reason for that is that when you do have a lot of sharp edges or anything protruding and you have an impact and you hit that spot on the helmet, it concentrates that entire load to a smaller point. But when you have a larger surface area that contacts the ground, it spreads that load a little bit more. So you're helping to reduce the amount of force that goes to your head. So there is a thought process other than just trying to make their helmet look cool when it comes to how the actual shell is designed. As I mentioned with the Visor Release System, so same design that they've had, and some people might argue that their visor There it is. Some people might argue that their visor pops off a little bit too easily. I beg to differ. So they've done testing. They want to make sure that when a certain amount of energy is transferred to the visor, that it pops off just like you saw. You don't want your visor to catch and to rip your head and to cause any additional forces to your head or to your neck. So having your visor pop off is a big safety feature. All the helmets do it one way or another. They might have shear away screws that break off. What's nice about this design though is that, and look, I work a local race series here. I see a lot of riders go down, and I see a lot of riders lose their visor. And what I've always seen and liked about the A-Star setup is that if it does pop off, look, you can continue riding. If you don't hit your head that hard, you can continue riding. But it's nice though that you're not very likely to actually break the visor when it does pop off just because of this design. So you can go grab your visor, and then to put it right back on, you're just gonna pop in the sides here. Easy to do that. And then the center. So you're just less likely to break your visor and having to buy a new one. And we've all been there before. You go down, you're fine, but you cracked or broke your visor, and now you got to worry about trying to buy another one. And I've seen a lot of visors with duct tape on them or electrical tape. Not a big fan of that, but that's why I like this visor design. All right, let's get to the inside here and talk about some of the safety tech. So first thing I'll call out is on the bottom here, you actually see that you have this red. So that is actually the plasma armor that A-Stars is using a lot in their protection pieces. They have their A5 plasma, they're coming out their A4 plasma and some other pieces. So it's a soft impact foam. You can see as I press on it that it compresses. So it's different than EPS in that it has memory. So when I compress this, it will actually go back to its original shape. And the reason that they put it right here on the bottom is to protect the rider's collarbone. So they're trying to just prevent any possible injuries to there from the helmet digging in if you do go down. So they're using that plasma armor. And then you'll notice too that on each side, they have these channels that are molded into that plasma. That is for your hydration tube. So it just routes right through there underneath the cheek pad. And again, that's just a nice feature to have because I've taken a sip tube before and routed it underneath my cheek pad. And you can see also the cheek pad even has a little slot built in there as well. If you don't have that, yes, you can usually still make it work, but it's hard sometimes to get these snaps to pop into the helmet on the cheek pad if you don't have that little indentation there. So it is cool that they're doing that. Also, let me point out when it comes to a comm system. So you can see they've got a little filler right here, but they do have cutouts for a speaker. But on top of that, you notice that right here on the shell, so they've got your plasma right here, and then back here you've got that EPS. But see right here where my finger is, there's this gap. That is so if you're taking a Bluetooth comm system, whether it's a Sena, Cardo, or another brand, and you want to use their clamshell mount that will pinch or go between the shell and the EPS in this area, it just gives you a thin slot to slide that up into. That way you don't have to worry about trying to use an adhesive-backed mount to get your Bluetooth comm system on there. So again, they're just thinking about all different riders. A lot of people are starting to use Bluetooth comm systems now when they ride. So they're just making it very easy to get one of those mounted up. And then again, you'll just route speakers on the inside or you can use headphones. That is going to be up to you. All right. Oh, we're not done there. All right. Comfort liner. Let's pop this out. So get that all out of here. So comfort liner, and you notice that it's open on the top. That is because when I open this up, you're going to see this portion of the comfort liner. This is their A-Head Fit System. And you notice the way it works, pretty simple, but you've got 3 attachment points here. So they give you 3 points of adjustment in the front as well as the back. So again, you can move that forward and back and get the fit and fine tune it and feel what's going to work best for you. It's pretty cool that they do that. The other unique feature is you notice, so here, what Alpinestars is doing is they're just using this coating, this resin that goes onto the EPS itself, and that makes it so there's a lot less friction there. And then they're combining that, so the comfort liner, you'll actually, if I kind of peel that back a little bit, you notice that it's kind of hard to see, but there's this orange piece underneath that, and that's the orange plastic. So that is kind of doing 2 things. One, that orange plastic liner is what's allowing you to move that forward and back for the fit adjustment, but it also acts as kind of a slip plane to help with rotational energy management. So this slick coating that they have here is going to help your comfort liner all the way around and on top slip when you do have an impact. And then this plastic liner is twofold. So it's giving you the adjustable fit, but it's also going to help glide and slide on the EPS to help reduce and mitigate rotational energy forces. So it's similar to MIPS. It's accomplishing the same thing where when the rider goes down and you're at an impact, you don't want to have that sudden abrupt stop. You want the head to continue slipping. You know, it's anywhere 10 to 15 millimeters. It's not a huge amount, but it's just enough that it does help reduce some of those forces to the head. So that's why they have it. That's why it's painted red or coated red. And that's how that A-Head Fit system works. And then of course, with the EPS, I mentioned it earlier, there's 4 pieces of EPS inside here, but there's 3 different densities that they utilize. They're going to use a more dense foam in areas where you're more likely to have an impact. And again, they've done a lot of research, a lot of data to know where you're most likely to have those impacts. So that's going to be more dense foam. And then in other areas, they can use a less dense foam where you're not as likely to have those impacts, and that's going to help just keep the helmet a little bit lighter. I weighed this in a size medium, and it comes in right around that 3-pound mark. So definitely a good weight for the SM7. But that is it. All new. Again, now you got the SM3, the 5, the 7, and the 10. 4 different options. So no matter what your budget is or what you're looking for, they've got a really good option for you. If you have any questions, comments about it, please leave those down below. We'll do our best to get those answered. To grab one of these, to see all the different colorways and the other A-Stars helmets, click the link or head to RockyMount-ATVMC.com. You know the deal. We ship for free over $75. If you want to stay up to date on the latest and greatest products like the SM7, get subscribed to the Rocky Mountain YouTube channel. I am Chase, and we'll see you on the trails.